Happy New Year! Cheers! Sarap. So, Happy New Year, everybody! So, recently I did a year-ender and I thought, why not do a year starter? Today is January 1 and we're actually on lockdown. So, it's just us. My husband is working. I thought I'll work in the garden and I'll just show you. And since New Year naman, cheers! Ayan. Cute ng mug ko, diba? Send notes and meron pang isa. Pero wala pa yung kainuman ko. Keep moist. These are from sedis.ph and wala lang, pwede ka actually yatang magpa-customize ng mug sa kanila. Thank you. And of course, from Mr. and Mrs. Isidro, maraming salamat. They attended the plant swap recently and meron silang pa-martini. Thank you! If you're new to this channel, I am Meg of Plants and Meg. I am a plant enthusiast here in Pampanga, Philippines. And yeah, I have been doing plant videos since summer of 2019. And if you like what you see, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell button. So, I hope you don't get the idea naman na alcoholic si lola nyo. This is becoming a thing. It's not like I do this all the time. I did it once. I'll add a link up here. I'll add a card up here if you want to see my first ever inuman and potting session. That was back in August during my birthday, and now it's New Year. I thought, cheers! Ayun. So, pasensya na rin kayo kung maingay. I live across the clubhouse and it's the New Year. People are partying. I did a year-ender last week and I thought, why not do a year starter? It's the New Year. We're on lockdown. We can't see family, so we're just here. My husband is working and I thought I'll do the video now. And my philodendrons are really due for a repot. So this video is sort of a part 2 of my philodendron propagation video. I'm gonna link it up here. It's better if you see that. So it's sort of a part 2 of that video, and also I'm gonna show you my philodendron potting mix. And I'm going to do a Q&A. So I actually mentioned this on Instagram and I got some topic suggestions. I kind of lost those, the first batch, but the second batch I was able to screenshot. So I'll answer from the top of my head those that I remember from the first sticker that I posted on Instagram, and then I'll answer the rest today. So where do I start? Let's start with the potting mix. So I have here my cocoa cubes. I like to mix them in separately. Some would mix them in the potting mix right away. So different strokes for different folks. I usually do half of the pot with cocoa husks or cocoa cubes. I did this so you can have a better view of makita niyo yung ratio. Okay, as you can see, almost half of this jar is cocoa peat. This is carbonized rice hull. This is pumice, and there's a little bit of vermicast. So I added a bit more of cocoa peat because it's our moisture retaining component, and I used pumice instead of perlite because pumice is more water retaining than perlite, just a little. I like to water my plants every day. Some are shocked by that, but it's just that it's hot. It's relatively hot where I live, and watering every day doesn't only, you know, nourish the plants, it also cools the entire place, and it adds humidity. So, you know, when I just hose down everything, and that's why I like to water every day. And that's why I like fast draining medium. But if you don't really have that issue, or you're an indoor gardener, of course, don't water every day. And you can actually use more water retaining components on your mix. There's no one formula for everything. So that's basically my potting mix. Tapos, if you say mo na, Meg, I don't have that, all that stuff that you have. It doesn't have to be these exact ingredients. You just need something that retains water. So, rice hull. This could be loam soil. Tapos my vermi is for the nutrients, so you can just use fertilizer. And then I use pumice for aeration. So whatever is available na mag-aerate. So for me, I have sacks and sacks of these because I was able to buy them cheaply by sack. So I still have them. I use them. So kung wala ka, just substitute. I'm gonna just start potting. And this is, I'll show this on my haul. Potting start by Plant Trippy. Cheers. Malalasin niyo yata ako, wala pa ako napapa. Ito na yung mga pinopagate natin. The downside of that propagation method is kailangan ko na naman siya i-repot after a while. So if you want something more, you know, doesn't have a lot of steps, you can plant them directly in whatever medium that you're gonna use. It's just this is my preference, because when you're just rooting a cutting, you have to maintain high humidity and moisture. And when you plant them directly in the medium, I have a hard time keeping the moisture and humidity up without rotting the plant, without overwatering it. So for me, this works best because, for example, if I put it here in a Starbucks mug, I don't know if you can see. Can you see the moisture? So if I cover it, it instantly keeps the humidity high. It keeps a certain amount of moisture without me overwatering it by, you know, watering it along with my other plants. So parang feeling ko pagka-cut ko, hayaan ko na sila doon. I'll just let them be and they just keep rooting. And what I love about it is, from that video that I posted, I have 100% success. So all of those cuttings, they're alive, and some of them are already growing leaves. That's why I actually need to repot them. So ang gagawin ko ay, I'm just going to remove the as much sphagnum that I can remove. So that's why this is very handy. While doing that, sasagutin ko na yung mga questions. Gardening Tends My Heart at Gardening Tends My Heart on Instagram. I guess somehow we all start from scratch. When and what inspired you to start gardening? My first attempt at gardening actually was in 2008 or 2009. I actually worked for this Korean publishing that gave me the opportunity to live where I work. It was a house in Charapura in Quezon City. Anyway, so my first attempt was meron pang ano na yung Manila seedling in Quezon City. So I bought a few plants and then we gardened, and you know what? So tinatanggal ko lang tong mga those kind of experiences. Those were the ones that gave me the idea, that gave me the impression that I had a black thumb. I didn't have green thumb. I'm not like my mom. I'm not like other people. So yeah, but in reality is I really just didn't care enough to research. I really just didn't try to find out the needs of each plant. Man, which is what we need to do, diba? Parang relationship lang yan. You can't just love somebody using your own love language. Like, love language mo, nag-water ka na nag-water. Uy, dapat makaglaws ako saglit. Sorry. Dito, tignan mo. It's like Freddy Krueger. Yeah, yun. So that was my first failure in gardening. This is my drinking hand eh. So gosh, maubos ko ata. Hindi ko matitirahan si Carl. Hi babe. Cheers! Ang sarap. Oopsie. Happy New Year. So yun. Yun, I tried again in October, I'm sorry, in 2009. In 2017. Because I saw on Pinterest. I killed most of the succulents. I have one living. It's still with me. And then, I moved here in Pampanga. We moved here in 2018. And I guess I should say the rest is history. I documented my journey on Instagram. This is my Instagram. I documented everything since then. So, yun. I started because we moved to a very bare area. It was so hot here actually, and it looked so bare. We had a relatively spacious, used to be spacious front lawn. Yeah, so we thought, hey, we need shade, and it just went downhill from there. Yun. Next question. As an explant hoarder, meron pa po ba kayong mga wishlist plant? As an explant hoarder, do I still have a wishlist? For those who just, joined me today, you might not know that my username used to be Plant Hoarder Pampanga. And as I mentioned on one of my posts, it started as a joke. And then it wasn't that funny anymore. Okay. Okay, grabe na yung roots niya and meron na siyang growth. Yes, I do. But I am not as aggressive anymore in pursuing my wishlist plants. For one, I can't afford plants. Just so expensive. I try to swap instead of buy when I can. So, for all my wishlist plants, I'm just not in a hurry. I hope I can have them, but I'm not, you know, super aggressively pining over them. So, yung mga wishlist ko, I want a soderoy. I want begonias. I want a majesty, kahit feeling ko I'm gonna kill it. A majestic. I want a majestic. Ano pa ba? I want I want a pastasanum, the real pastasanum, or even a magtowel. Madami akong wala, or madami akong napatay na. Meron tinanong si Marky. Marky asked me, yun nga, I wasn't able to screenshot that first. Something about Marky recovering after a bad episode of dying plants or something. Anyway, that did happen to me last year. Yun nga, I focused so much on hoarding and going after my wishlist plants that the plants that I have, I wasn't able to give the time that they need. Here's another tip, unsolicited tip. Try not to hoard during the rainy season or the good season. I think that's what happened to me. I hoarded in August, ganyan. Because it was the rainy season and the humidity was so high and my plants were so happy, and I got so overconfident that it's gonna stay that way. So when the humidity dropped, I can't tend to all of my plants. I can't you know, provide extra humidity for everyone. I lost a lot of plants. I lost my silver dragons, I lost coprias, I lost mellows, jewel orchids, madami akong jewel alocasias. I killed a lot of jewel alocasias. I lost my Sharoni. It burned and it just went downhill from there. I lost my Hoya ondulata. I lost my variegated Hindu rope. I lost my variegated Spapiru. So if you think about the prices of all those plants now, yeah, it's hard to recover. How did I recover? Of course, my self-esteem didn't do so well. I felt like I'm such a bad plant parent. It helped that I pulled back a bit. I stopped buying plants. I focused on work. And my friends also helped. One of my friends, Eden, that time I mentioned that I'm kind of losing my interest because my plants died and stuff. And early this year, she was like, you know, you come over and you cut as much plants as you want, because yeah, so I got a lot of plants from her, a lot of cuttings, and yun, friends would really help pick you up if you want to get back to the hobby. It's gonna hurt. There was a time that I didn't want to look at my old photos because it hurts to see all the plants that I can't buy again. But you know, we move on. That's how it is. And having friends really help. Another one question asked dun sa unang sticker ko is pest management. I don't want to do an entire video on it because I don't have a specific basic philosophy in pest management is a lot of pests like spider mites specifically, a few scales. They usually plants are usually prone to pests like those when they're stressed. So apparently some pests can detect the stress hormones from the plants. So pag nafe-feel nilang nasa stress yung plant, they attack the plant. So the first, as they say, prevention is better than cure. And when you see pests, what I do is I always ask myself, oh look at that. So this is a Philodendron 69. I always ask myself, why is the plant stressed? Did I move it? Is it getting too dry? Or is it overwatered? Is it getting too much sun? More often than not, there is a root cause why the plant is stressed and why it's attracting pests. Of course, that doesn't go for caterpillars and stuff like that. So how do I manage pests? To be honest, I don't have like a regular thing. It's kind of hard to maintain for me. And also, I'm kind of stressed with the dogs around. So, I try when I can. Especially during the rainy season, I use Furadan, definitely, for the snails. Because the small snails, they start from the roots, so sometimes you don't see what's going on. So, when it's the wet season, I definitely try to use Furadan at least once every few weeks. Tapos, this is subhastato. Meron na rin siyang growth. I tried some natural pesticides, pero mas nahihirapan ako. I kind of struggle because natural pesticides, you kind of have to do it frequently. I also use Starkle. I kind of use Starkle more if the problem is already there. It's expensive. I find it expensive to use na as maintenance. But if you can, why not? It's systemic, so you add it to the soil, and when the pests bite on the plant, it's kind of expensive for me if I have this much plants. Ano ba? Ano yung video nito? Best alak for me. Uy, parang nafe-favorite ko tong Marty. Sabi ni Plant Trippy. A little trivia. I have a slight allergy to red wine. When I drink red wine, I sneeze and sneeze. Hindi naman ako itatakbo sa ER, pero nagbababahin ako. So, I prefer the light colored ones, like this sparkling wine. My favorite cocktail is mimosa. Hindi na ako nakagawa ngayon kasi ang sarap naman nito as is. Bakit ang lalim po ng dimples? Hindi ko alam. Dugong berde. Anong dapat gawin sa mga magnanakaw ng halaman? Uy, seryoso to ha. Nakaka-alarm. Yung bakit? Ay, naputol ko yung root. Yung ko, parang feeling ko dati we have this reverence for plants that it's associated with good deeds, good heart. did everything. And they always say back then, plant person is always kind. Garden centers, they don't really have locks, they don't have anything. And when they go on break, they go on break. And you know, when you go in a garden center without anybody there, that's it. You just have to suck it up. You can't buy plants. You just walk out without any plant. You can't just, you know, pick up a plant and run. So this year, that's one of the negative things that I really hate. I know almost all of my favorite gardeners, they experience this. Sila Kira's Garden, sila Tita Tess in Laguna, si Ate Mary of Davao, Kit Casanova here in Pampanga, and ito din si Jays of Dugong Verde na nakawalan tayo constellation sa bahay. Imagine. And this is not even just local, even in the States. This is very sad. Siguro kasi nga, there's a high value attached to plants now, so everyone involved in the community, they're not all plant lovers per se, but they're kind of more attached to the value, monetary value of the plant at the moment. Pero hindi ko masasagot yung tanong mo, Jace. Anong dapat gawin sa magnanakaw? Ipa-blatter mo, girl. Anong dapat i-consider before chop-chopin ang plant? What if si plant parang stagnant? Wag grow. Okay. So, what should we consider before we cut up a plant? What if the plant is stagnant? I think one major lesson that Tita May taught us, Tita May Tolentino is one of the Vatican icons of the plant community. I met her through the Grow and Show. You might have encountered her on plant groups on Facebook, and she's an officer of the Philippine Horticultural Society. Anyway, when you get the chance to meet her in one of the shows, make sure to say hi and start chatting her up, because she's like sobrang maraming matutunan. Anyway, one lesson that she has really taught us is don't propagate when it's super hot. Yung talagang the peak of summer here in the Philippines, rainy season and the, more humid seasons, those are the good times to cut your plant because there's a higher chance of success. Pero all throughout naman the year, if you want to, pwede naman. Some just, it's just lower chances. Don't cut too close to the tip. So you just want to cut a node from the tip. Usually the youngest node is not very viable yet. So if you're cutting from the tip, make sure to include at least 2 nodes, 3 nodes, and then from going down, okay, kahit 1 node lang, it's okay. For me, usually a plant goes stagnant when it's establishing its roots or it's struggling in the root area. So kunwari na nararot na pala siya. So, it's trying to grow new roots. Might be busy trying to heal itself. And you can help. Here in the Philippines, it's not really, we don't really have defined dormancy periods because, you know, it's not like we have winter, ganon. Diba? Kuha naman tayong winter. Yan. Nagdo-dormant yung plants. But for us, here, mas nag-grow sila during rainy. Hope that helped. What else? Guide in taking care of variegated phyllos, watering, fertilizer, and other helpful info. Thank you, Miss Meg. By Jin Odendron. Jin.Odendron. Jin. Chat man tayo. So, Jin. Ano sabi ko sa'yo? Variegated phyllos. So for me, my experience is for Florida Beauty, Strawberry Shake, and Burl Marks Variegata. These are these type of variegations, they're mutation, so it's kind of random. So sometimes they can also randomly revert. I give my variegated plants, whatever they are, more light, because the concept here is I forgot the botanist who mentioned this, but he said that when a variegated plant is stressed, the first thing that it's gonna do is it's going to give up the parts that have no use for the plant. And for variegated plants, it's the variegated sections. Usually, bakit? Because these parts, they don't produce food. Diba, we learned back in school that in order to make food, the plant uses chlorophyll. When a variegated plant, mararamdaman na niya yung stress. It can be any type of stress actually. The first thing it's going to do is to give up the variegated sections. So what you want to do is not only give it sufficient light, you give it the best care that you can, enough humidity, enough water, don't underwater it, don't overwater it, because stress will cause it to give up the variegated parts. Ito yung minsan, di ba, parang nilala na it just kills off the variegated parts, yung parang magba-brown siya, ganyan, malalaga siya. After this, what you can do is you can fill your watering can with water and then Hormex, or I sometimes use Super Thrive. I ordered this online and minsan nag-iisip ako kung legit ba yung bili ko. Just delete that and then delete yourself. Cheers! I hope you learned something, or at least you were amused somehow. I am not very drunk, I think. I think I'm a little pretty tipsy. Pero wala naman ako masyadong hanash ngayon, except for the Nakawan. Yun. So if you like this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and hit that bell button. And, you know, share this. if you can. Thank you for watching and joining me in this inuman session. Until the next time, bye!